I would like to bring the Stockbridge Board of Selectmen meeting to order for June 1st, 2021 at 6:30 PM. This evening, the only item on our agenda is to interview our town accountant potential candidates. And just so everyone knows, if anyone joins us that's watching from the public, there will be no public participation. However, after watching, if you have any comments that you would like to share with the select board, please send them via email to selectmen@stockbridge-mass.gov. So our first candidate this evening is Cheryl Allen.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, so Cheryl, could you just take a few minutes to briefly introduce yourself and explain your motivation for applying for our town accountant and what interested you generally in accounting?
Okay, so hi, everyone. My name is Cheryl Allen, and actually I come from Shanghai, China. That's my hometown. And I was a lawyer after because my major in college is in law. So I've been a lawyer for a couple of years back in Shanghai. And then during the daily job as a lawyer, I figured out that I want to work on something more, have more certainty in my job, so I can feel like less stress and just concentrate on something that I can present to my leader or management to just helping them making decision. So I decided to went to New Zealand, Christchurch, to get my master's degree there. And my master's degree is in professional accounting. And I spent 2 years in my master's degree, and then I moved into US. So I have my first job in United States as a paralegal in Pittsfield because my background just like interested my former employer, and he is very seeking to have someone who know different language because we do like help Chinese people who cannot speak English well in like Pittsfield in buying property or helping them in any lawsuit issues. So, but I know I won't stay there forever, which we have the agreement at the beginning of my job starting there because I want to pursue my career as an accountant, move forward. So after a year working in the law firm, and I have this opportunity that it's another like local small business. It's in Pittsfield too, and they offered me the job as their accountant. And I took the job and working for them for 3 years. Yeah. And my intention to become an accountant, like because I am a very how to say that. Like I mentioned before, it's like I want everything to be accurate, and I want things that helping the organization to move forward, see the future, how it will performance, and helping the organization making the right decision. So yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So describe your experiences that you feel makes you qualified to be our town accountant, and how do you feel you'll approach learning municipal accounting laws and regulations? And can you demonstrate ways that you've approached continuing education over the last few years?
Okay, so I think what make me qualified to this position is, first of all, I have a very strong background, and I mean, I know the regulations in New Zealand and the United States, they are slightly different, but all the basic, they're the same. And plus I have the law background, so it will make it easier for me to learning new regulations from time, through the time that I'm working. And for the future that I have, I mean, first of all, I know that it's a requirement that the person who took this job is required to get the certificate for the Massachusetts governmental accountant, which I read all the requirement for that, and I know that I will be. I'm not saying that it will be an easy case for me, but I think it will help me to pass the exam quick as possible, because there are two parts of the exam. One is the legal one, another one is the practical exam. So for the legal one, I think I will be having a huge advantages in learning all the things and even memorize them in like no time probably. And for the practical exam, I'm a quick learner and also a very detailed oriented person. So like I believe that I have the ability to learn a lot if I got this job. And besides that, I'm also a CPA candidate for now. So I will be ready to sit down for my CPA exam and pass the CPA and got my license without even intern in working in any CPA firm, because the Massachusetts has a regulation for people who has a master's degree. They don't have to do a 1-year intern. They can just immediately apply for a certificate after they pass all 4 parts of the CPA. So I think that will be a plus for me, because again, I get the certificate because I think it's one of the most, difficult exam in the world. And I want to.
You've been doing the CPA training in the past year, 2 years for as a candidate?
I have all I actually I have been waiting for the NASBA board to have all my transcript certified and verified that I have the equivalent, all the credits, and I have equivalent master degree in the United States too. I actually waited for them for 1 year and a half. And during that time, I would study self-learning all those materials for passing the CPA exam. Yes.
Great.
Great. So I got a software question. I don't know nothing about software. Okay, the town of Stockbridge uses SoftWrite as its financial software. Describe your experience with accounting and financial software in previous positions, including use of Excel.
I would say I have never used the SoftWrite, software that town of Stockbridge is using right now, but I've been using QuickBooks for the past 3 years. And when I was in New Zealand that 2 years, I was using Xero, which called Xero. And it's not a system that is very popular here, but I don't have any difficulty or feeling uncomfortable in learning new system. And I'm a quick learner, and I believe that I have the ability to learn things quick and do them right. And also in terms of the Microsoft softwares, I've been using them since I was in middle school, because we teach them back there, and sometimes we are not allowed using calculator, and so we're using Excel instead. So all the formulations that in daily, I'm very familiar with them. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you mind if I ask a follow-up question on software? Or do you want me to wait to the end?
Why don't we wait till the end? Okay. So the town accountant works under the general direction of the town administrator. Our town accountant also must work independently and as part of a team. What is your experience working independently and also within a team framework? And if you could give us specific examples.
Okay, so first of all, I'm a very self-motivated person. I have no problem in working just, by myself, sitting in this position, because it's a good example, because for the past 3 years, I'm the only accounting person in my company. And I handle all the daily accounting payable, account receivable, and the daily invoices entry and the monthly billing, and also help the company prepare the year-end information so that we can have the financial statement ready for the year. So I have no problem for that as a, independent worker. And also I'm a good team player too, because although for the past 3 years, I'm the only accounting staff in the company, but we always have a regular weekly meeting to just discuss the ongoing issue, and in the future, how we, planning on cutting down the budget and spend money on the right place. So there were situations that my boss and we don't agree, because the boss wants things moving as fast as it can, because it's a kind of construction company. The money come quick, and if you don't act right now, say if you don't submit the bid, you will lose the job. So for me, I will be since I also have the law background, sometimes I will read the contract and find out the risk, and just give my boss a hint or a heads up, this could be cause some issue in the future. So at the end of the day, the boss will make the decision whether we are doing it or not. I will be I have to admit that I would be very thrilled if he took my advice and we got another better job. But I will also feel a little, yes, I will, although you didn't take my advice this time, but I will still help you to make sure everything's okay in the future. So I'm not seeing that me as a difficult person working in a group, because I love to give my advice. I also love to listen to people's advice, and I will prefer to having a very nice conversation with everyone and make the best decision for the organization. Yeah.
Thank you.
Does your company build bridges? I'm just curious.
I think it did, yeah, they basically just do masonry, local masonry stuff. Yeah.
That was an inside joke. We have some bridges that need to, whatever, no, never mind. Our next question, the town accountant must be detail oriented.
Mhm,
Specifically, any strategies you would use to ensure the accuracy
mhm.
of the general ledger for state reports and tracking individual grantors?
That's good, because I mentioned earlier, I'm a detail-oriented person, and plus I'm a little bit OCD. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to freak everyone out, but I do have a little bit OCD that
No, that's fine.
to make sure that the numbers, they are accurate, I will at least check them 3 times to make sure all the 3 times they come to the same number at the end of the day, because it's very rare for me if I would make mistake like 3 times in a row. So that's the self-check, and for the past 3 years, it worked. It's very effective. So I'm not seeing like this is not a bad strategy. So in the future, I will keep doing this. And also, if we're working in a team and any team member point out that I put a number wrong, that I will be very sure to have that help from them too. But from my end, first of all, I will check numbers for at least 3 times every time. So yeah.
Like another quick question. Tell me about a mistake you made. How did you correct it, and what lessons did you learn from it?
Okay, so I do have a very vivid case for this, because as a construction company, we do billing every month. And there's one time that I think I did something wrong and the number didn't match, because we do have the, construction, they have the formatted like monthly billing every month, and you have to match the page 2 number, have to match the page 1 number, and deduct all the retainage and come up to the number that you need to match. And I cannot find out, and struggle me half day of it, because normally I only need 10 to 15 minutes to finish the billing. So I was so like kind of frustrated there, but I think I made mistakes somewhere. But after I did all the self-check, I cannot find it. I seek help from my boss, and he thought everything I put in there was correct too. So that's lead to a mystery, like how we resolve this, because if we want to bill, then we can receive the money on time. So I called our general contractor, and very luckily their accountant is very, very helpful. And we went through all the steps and to see whether there's something that we built previously, but we built again this time. So we did find an overlap, and we covered it, and we sent out the bill that day. So that's the only thing that is giving me very like big, fresh memory about what mistake that I made. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, and what would you consider your major strengths professionally? Can you illustrate how you've used your major strengths? And could you tell us why you think you are the best candidate to be our town accountant?
Well, I think I am the best candidate because not only because I have the strong background, and I think I also have a nice personality that I can go along with everyone, so make the job finished. And I also have like I said, I'm detail oriented, and I'm also having, since the OCD part, I always have the reminder of all the deadlines that I will never to just remind me a day or a week even ahead of the deadline. So I will never miss any deadlines. And also I'm a very, how to say, I have very high requirements for myself as not only as like how I performed in my, daily life, but especially for my professional career, because I see like, I know what I want very clearly, that I am not like, oh, okay, I am jumping to this industry from a lawyer to now I want to be an accountant, maybe in the future, maybe next year, I want to be, a dancer or something like that. No, I exactly know what I want. So I think that will help too, because the stability is very important as to any positions, to any employers, because you don't want to hire somebody and then they jump to another company or another position after 1 year or two. I choose accountant as my lifelong career. So I want to work as an accountant professionally with professional people and make achievements, make everyone proud, and especially myself, because I think self-satisfaction is very important too, no matter what you're doing. So yeah, I think these are the things that I want to also, like, I have the law background. So it's really going to help me to understand regulations, like renewed every monthly, and I won't feel it's boring. Because the reason I quit as a lawyer, it's not means that I think being a lawyer is boring or challenging. It's really like there's, no matter in like where in this world, there's always like a huge gray area in the law field. So it makes me feel we are too small to do anything to change the world. I mean, I don't want to be the hero to change the world, but I want to do something that make me certain about and can present something to people who will be certain about, because we based on the number, we know whether we are doing good or not. So that's why I chose to become an accountant. Also, I believe that I will be a perfect fit for this position. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
I better that I have something to say. So, well, about myself, if anyone wants having the interesting to just like, I can give you more information about me as a person, like what I like in like doing in my spare time, or yeah. So I like travel, that's for sure. That's why I chose from Christchurch as my master's degree place to do instead of Shanghai. And I also kind of like the life here, because as a Shanghainese, it's too, I'm feeling like a little bit exhausted in seeing that many people in the city all the time, and the traffic is terrible. And I also a animal lover. I have 2 dogs and 1 cat, also a tortoise in my house. Yeah, which I think is quite cool.
That's a happy turtle.
It's a Russian tortoise, so it's like small one, but yeah. And I also do crochet because it makes me relaxing. Yeah. And also I think it's always a very thoughtful and warm gift to give anyone that you care about, because they're just unique. And you can make socks, you can make blanket, like, or even just those crochet dolls that I want to make it just decorating my house. So yeah, I mean, I have a lot of habit. Also, I like to play games too.
What's your favorite game?
So I used to play World of Warcraft and the League of Legends.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I went back to college, but nowadays it's not something that I can do for hours, or in night. And all my team members, they're back to Shanghai, so like 12 hours time difference is not make it doable. So I'm just play something small and quick, so Overwatch. But yeah, it's just relax me, because among all the working and the study, I need to seek a way to just balance it, like working hard but play hard. So just make sure that you always have the best performance at work. I think that helped me to balance my life. Yeah.
What kind of dogs do you have?
So I have 1 golden doodle, standard golden doodle, and her name is Luna. And she is 5 years old right now. And another one is a wild fox terrier. Her name is Nala. She is the cutest little one, but she also is so hard to train.
More on target.
Yeah, you wanted to follow up with
Do you
something?
guys, in your current job, is it with QuickBooks, are you doing cash or accrual?
So accrual.
Accrual.
Yeah, not using the cash base.
And when you close out at the end of the year, obviously there's tax preparation, and you're working with accountants, are you doing a review or a full audit?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I am doing the since we have the CPA outsourced CPA firm, so I just generate all the informations that they will need for preparing all the audit reports. Yeah, and also help since it's a construction company, I also prepare for the union benefits person to come here to do the annual auditing. Yeah.
So and because the point I'm making is obviously with a municipal county, we have an auditor, CPA that audits us.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to kind of get a sense of your experience working with,
Yeah.
the CPAs.
Yes.
That's all I got. Thanks.
And I have one follow-up too.
Okay.
You're a CPA candidate right now. Is there any estimate of when you'd actually be?
I think it will be, my goal is to get the CPA license within 2 years, because once you start the first part, once you pass the first part, you have 18 months to pass the rest of the 3 parts. So if you failed in passing all 4 parts within 18 months, the first credit will lose. So because it's like 24 months in 2 years, and I was already 2/3 way finished for the first part of the CPA exam. So I think I will sit down soon. Maybe now is June, so maybe in August, I will start my first exam then, and then hopefully I only need to take 1 time for each part, because they are both huge exams, like 4 hours each. And I wish I could, lucky enough to just pass all 4 just by the first tries. Yeah. So if that way, I think I will be able to get the CPA license maybe as early as the end of next year.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have anything else, Chuck?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Cheryl. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you. Nice to meeting you guys.
To hearing from us probably by the end of this week.
Thank you. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. So our next candidate this evening is Jessica Abbott. And Jessica, I'm Roxanne McCaffrey. This is Chuck Cardillo and Patrick White.
Hi.
So if you would like, please take a few minutes to briefly introduce yourself and explain your motivation for applying for this position. And in general, what has interested you in accounting?
Sure. I'm Jess. I'm from Sheffield, Mass. I started my education at BCC and got my associates in business administration. From there, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And after taking a few classes, I saw that accounting really caught my eye. I think organization is one of my main things. And with accounting, it's kind of like set in stone. It's really easy to follow the rules, and if you're wrong or you're right, and there's the checks and balances. And I think that's what really brought me to accounting. And then from there, I went to MCLA and got my bachelor's degree in business administration with a concentration in accounting. While I was in school, I worked at a bank, administrative assistant at a camp, and then I did an internship at a tax office. And since then, I've been working at a public accounting firm in Pittsfield. So I've got to touch a lot of different industries doing that. And I think I want to just do something more specific. Municipal accounting's always kind of intrigued me. And so I'm really eager to learn more about that and get into that more.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Describe your experience that makes you qualified to be our town accountant. How will you approach learning municipal accounting laws and regulations? And how do you feel about continuing education? And have you sort of been doing any of that in the past year?
So I did start my master's degree. I took a few classes at UConn, master's in accounting. I kind of put that on pause for COVID and tax season and all that. And then I kind of put it on hold, trying to figure out what I wanted to do further. I think my education definitely qualifies me for the position. And I do definitely want to continue taking classes and learn more as I go. I know I haven't had much experience yet in municipal accounting, and I know there are a lot of opportunities and associations to keep learning, and I'm very eager to do that.
Patrick?
Chuck?
Hi. The town of Stockbridge uses SoftWrite as its financial software. Describe your experience with accounting and financial software in previous positions, including use of Excel.
I'm very familiar with Excel. I had to take multiple classes in college in Microsoft in general and a lot in Excel. And the more advanced accounting classes in college is all based in Excel, so you do a lot in that. I've also used it at my current job. I have not used SoftWrite, but I've used a few other accounting softwares, including QuickBooks and QuickBooks Online. I had my QuickBooks Online certification through my current job, and just have a lot of experience with QuickBooks Desktop as well.
Thank you.
Okay, the town accountant works under the general direction of the town administrator, but also must work often very independently, and then at times as part of a team. What is your experience working independently and also as a team member? And can you give some specific examples?
Sure. So through COVID, I had at my current position, I have kind of been thrown under the role of being put in charge of all of the COVID funding programs that like the SBA gave out and the IRS. So that gave me a real independent work project. I had a lot of research to do and reaching out to clients and all that. So definitely learned a lot of independence through that, and just how to research and what resources I could go to. For teamwork, a lot of that is just in college. A lot of group projects, and even if you're just struggling in class, going to classmates for study groups or yeah, so I think teamwork was a lot learned in college, and communication is a big part of teamwork, and just being organized and setting roles and communicating with your fellow classmates through that all.
Thank you.
Is it me? Town accountant must be detail oriented. What strategies have you used to ensure the accuracy of the general ledger? That's going to be applicable for state reports and tracking grantors, and there's a lot of really specific legal requirements in terms of reporting municipal accounting.
Yeah, I think for accuracy, source documents is a big thing. Keeping your source documents organized and making sure you have all the correct documents to back everything up. With accounting, there's a lot of checks and balances in the system, and I think that's essential for anything you do in accounting. And a lot of that traces back to the source documents and being organized and staying focused while you're working. And
Me again. Tell me about a mistake you made. How did you correct it, and what lessons did you learn from it?
Okay. I think at my current position, through this COVID project I was thrown on, I had to do a lot with the payroll protection program, and it changed constantly. So there were a few, like applying for the forgiveness piece of the protection program. A few of them would come back to me, and I'd have to fix and send them back. And I think I did make a few mistakes on them, but it just took more research, and I had to research exactly what I was looking at and just go back to the source documents and the payroll and just relook at everything again and try again.
That's good.
Mhm.
Thank you.
So what would you consider your major strengths professionally? And can you explain how you've used those strengths or applied those strengths? And then probably also tell us why you think you're the best candidate to be our town accountant.
I think one of my best strengths is organization. I've always been organized. I don't like to procrastinate. And just through all my schooling, it's just kind of gotten me to where I am now. And I think that's a major part of accounting. I think I could be a great candidate for this position because I'm young and energetic, and I'm eager to get involved in the community. And like I said, I'm organized, which is big in accounting.
Okay, thanks. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us about yourself in general?
Not that I can think of specifically. I really do enjoy working in this field, and I really am eager to learn more and willing to learn more and take classes when needed. And I really do think my education has helped me learn how to research properly and communicate and ask the questions when I need to and reach out when I'm struggling.
Okay, well, thank you very much. You will-
Fun.
What do I do for
Yeah,
fun?
what do you do when you're not working? Just-
I like to be outside.
Yeah.
I wish I had a dog. I love animals. Yeah.
Just a quick question.
Yep.
So similar to, I work for a school that actually also applied for a PPP loan, and we actually got audited by the SBA. Did any of your clients get audited?
I think I had one client get audited,
Yeah.
but it was just mostly just sending more documents.
Yeah, that's right.
Nothing, yeah.
And,
nothing.
and so one of the challenges in a small town is, especially in a position like this, is there's no backup. You're like the town accountant. I mean, obviously you have Mike, you have, a treasurer, but this is it. And it sounds like in your job, you also had a situation where there were a lot of unknowns. How did you get answers when you had a question where you don't have a lot of folks around who are colleagues who might be able to get it to you?
Yeah, I think that's where the research comes in. With this SBA stuff, I was pulling documents from anywhere I could, and the SBA wasn't very
No.
helpful with that. They were pretty vague about stuff. So a lot of it was going to other accounting firms and bigger accounting firms to see what their take was on it. So just going to the resources that you have at hand. And so I know like in town accounting, there's a lot of municipal associations to go to if you need anything.
And a lot of history.
Yeah.
So hopefully you're a patient person with your research. Well, thank you very much. And you'll be hearing from us by the end of this week.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys so much.
It was a
you.
pleasure meeting you. Thank you.
You too. Hi.
Hi, I'm Roxanne McCaffrey. This is Chuck Cardillo, Patrick White.
Hi.
Hi.
And welcome Elizabeth Varachi, who is our next candidate for our town accountant position. Elizabeth, could you just take a few minutes to briefly introduce yourself and explain why you are applying for our town accountant's position and what in general has interested you in pursuing accounting?
Okay, sure. So I'm Elizabeth Varachi. I am originally from New York. I moved up here about 10 years ago, I think. And that's when I began my accounting career at Canyon Ranch as a staff accountant. It was a great experience. I learned a lot there. The company didn't really align right for me. So I was planning on moving back to New York. And so I quit my job there and gave up my apartment in Great Barrington. And then I ended up staying, and I've been in Lenox ever since. So that is when I started my job at what was GLV. It's now Valmet. I'm sure you'll see that on my resume. Before GLV, it was Beloit. I know a lot of people know it as Beloit. So I started there as a cost accounting specialist. And then after a couple of years, I moved up to a cost accountant. And then last year, I took a senior accountant position for cost recognition and inventory accounting. So that's been a lot of transition over the last year, roughly. The position really started in August. And so at that time, I was working for North America, and now I'm working for Finland. So there's been a lot of adjustment and changes in that regard. And so the GLV was a very large company. It was international, but once Valmet purchased us, it grew immensely. Like it's a much, much bigger company than what we were used to. So unfortunately, you know, the way my career path has gone there doesn't really align with my goals. And I'm looking for something smaller where I can interact with my coworkers. It's been a good learning experience, trying to interact with people overseas and learning about the Finnish culture and all of that. But we have 3 hours each day to work together because of the time difference. It's been very, very challenging, and therefore it's just not really where I see myself in the long run. I like to, interact with my coworkers, like I said, and get to know them and work with them. And it's just not providing me that opportunity. And then it's on just such a grand scale, the work and how many people there are and the language barrier. So I'm really looking for something smaller and local. So when I saw this position come up, I thought that would be perfect. It's the next town over. Stockbridge is a great town. I thought it would be a great opportunity. I know there's a lot of job security working for the town. So it really interested me. And I know it's a very independent position, which I'm somewhat used to, given that my managers in Canada and the rest of my coworkers are in Finland. So, but I saw that there would be a lot of communication and interaction with other people involved in the town. So that's why I became very interested in applying for that position. And as far as accounting goes, I will honestly say my dad kind of pushed me into that when I was at Western New England College. I started as a marketing major, and he said, you know what, accounting is a really, really strong background. You can go into so many different fields with it. Every business needs to understand accounting. So that's how I ended up going for accounting. And I graduated at a rough time. It was 2008. So things were very, very difficult. Finding a job was challenging. So I, got into retail for a brief moment, and then finally I started very entry level with accounts payable, but I continued with accounting from there. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's see, describe your experiences that make you qualified to be our town accountant. How will you approach learning municipal accounting, the laws and regulations? How do you feel about continuing education? And can you give any examples of how you've approached continuing education in the last few years?
Sure. So, like I said, I started very entry level with accounting as an accounts payable specialist with CarQuest down in New York. And then I did take a break in between that job and Canyon Ranch. I was a registration specialist at an orthopedic office. But then I started at Canyon Ranch in the staff accountant role. And like I said, that was a really good learning experience, very challenging, a lot of independent work, but people you could rely on. And then when I moved into cost accounting, it was just such a transition, and cost accounting is so different from the staff accountant responsibilities, especially for a manufacturing company. So my experience with Canyon Ranch, some of it translated over into the cost accounting role, but I really had to take on a lot of new responsibilities and learning experiences. It was very different. So I had to look at accounting kind of from a different perspective and figure it out in that sense. So that was a good experience. And then moving into Valmet and working internationally with their standards, that's different. I know that GAAP is a big policy for and procedures for the United States, but the IFRS is what Valmet follows. So there's just been a lot of different experiences over these years that I've had to adjust to and learn. As far as continuing education, I have not gone beyond my bachelor's degree just because I have not had the opportunity to really pursue anything else. If the career opportunity came about in which I needed to continue my education, I would be more than happy to. But there's been nothing to cross my path at this point for me.
Chuck?
Hey. The town of Stockbridge uses SoftWrite as its financial software. Describe your experience with accounting and financial software in previous positions, including use of Excel.
Okay, so I am not familiar with that system, but because I have worked in different companies and different areas of accounting, I have learned many different systems. Sage Pro was one, Oracle was one. Currently, it's called Encompass at, well, I guess GLV was Encompass, and that was kind of a homegrown system. And now we are implementing a new system called LN. So that's why I started in Finland. Finland was the first country to implement this ERP. And so they want me to learn it and figure it all out so that when it's ready to come to North America, I can be, you know, a go-to person for the North America transition. Excel, I use on a regular basis. You know, we're so heavily involved with Excel and a lot of the functions, you know, pivot tables, macros, a lot of that stuff, the in-depth. I know Excel is like a never-ending learning experience. And I did take an Excel class a few years back. Our work offered it. It was, I think, a 2 or 3 day class. So that was very helpful. We ended up with a book like this thick. So I reference that sometimes because I don't know how anybody can know every little detail of Excel. But so far, yeah, it's pretty much in my daily work.
The town accountant works under the general direction of our town administrator. But the town accountant must also be able to work independently and as part of a team. What is your experience working independently and also in a team environment? And if you could give a few specific examples.
Okay, so when I started at GLV, it was only the cost accounting manager and myself. And we were responsible for a lot of different areas. The Lenox location, there's a location in Hudson Falls, New York, one in Nashua, New Hampshire. And then we were actually responsible for some in Canada as well, even though Canada had some cost accounting roles up there. So it wasn't a huge team. So therefore there was a lot of independent work. You know, we would collaborate together and discuss the responsibilities and roles, but I was given my tasks and I did them independently unless I needed his assistance with anything. I always had him to turn to, which was great. So that was a lot of independent work. And like I said, currently it is as well, since my manager is in Canada and the rest of my coworkers are in Finland. So it's up to me, and I'm working remotely. I have been since March of last year. So there's a lot of independence. You really have to, I mean, I'm really relying a lot on myself. And as far as teamwork, there's a crossover between cost accounting and the regular financial reporting, general ledger work. So we did have a group of maybe 8 regular accountants at the office. So we would interact with them frequently, and I would work with them on like a team setting for certain tasks, not everything. It was more so independent work, but that, and then even though it's a remote environment now, I have the team in Finland. So we do have to coordinate. Like I said, there's only 3 hours each day that we can. So it is a team effort to try to, you know, meet and get together. So that's really, you know, most of my experience with independent and teamwork. And then, you know, there's little things in work. I think in my initial interview, I mentioned that I was part of the activity committee. So that was a big team building experience, you know, to just get a lot of the employees who were comfortable with participating outside of work to just get together and do kind of fun things and get to know each other. You know, it's a relaxed environment. So I was involved in that committee, and that was actually a lot of fun. So until COVID came along.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see, the town accountant must be detail oriented. Specifically, any strategies you would use to ensure the accuracy of general ledger, state reports. There's a lot of, like, obviously with tracking individual grants, you know, there's a lot of reporting requirements that are legally mandated with municipal accounting.
Yeah, so I do a lot of reconciliations right now. It's very heavily involved in my role. We're comparing just 2 different databases just to make sure the general ledger reconciles with the other. And so that is done. I want to say I do one of them a few times a month, and then the rest I go through a lot of general ledger accounts at the monthly closing. So for example, this upcoming Friday would be when I go through all of the remaining general ledger accounts just to reconcile those specifically related to the cost and inventory accounts. So that's a big part of it. And then really using Excel and a lot of the features in there to just check through all of the reports and information. You know, all of these reports that we run in our ERP system can be exported to Excel. So it's very easy to verify a lot of information in there and use a lot of the features to ensure accuracy. But I would say the reconciliations are probably one of the biggest.
Chuck?
So tell me about a mistake you made. How did you correct it? And what lessons did you learn from it? I love this question.
All right, let's see. Well, learning this new system, it's challenging. It's easy to make some mistakes in there. And I believe my manager, he's still learning it as well. And he wanted me to run a report to tie out to a number that came from our revenue recognition team. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll do my best to figure this out. I've never run this report before. And so I, went into the system, and like I said, I did everything, the way I thought I would. And still I could not tie out to this figure. And so it was just not necessarily that I made a mistake, but the whole process wasn't wrong, And so I had to then reach out to each of our groups has a specific member who is very, very proficient in this LN ERP system. So I had to reach out to him to schedule a training for myself and my manager, actually, so that we could be taught this whole process, know how to run these reports correctly, to figure it out, because it's very essential for everything in the future. So it wasn't necessarily a big mistake. It was a learning experience, but I did not do it correctly. So I had to, go about it in a different way and organize a training so that, it could be corrected in the future.
Thank you.
Okay. What would you consider your greatest strength professionally? How has that been used? And why do you think you're the best candidate to be our town accountant?
I would say that I'm an extremely reliable person. When I started working for my manager, he had not had an employee before, and his workload was, he still is sometimes pulling 60, 70-hour work weeks. And so he struggled for a little while handing over his responsibilities because he needed to trust the person taking them over. And eventually he started giving me more and more work. And he did say, I can trust you with this. I know you're going to do a good job. And it's very important to me that I can rely on you. You're a reliable employee. And so that meant a lot to me, but I think also to my coworkers, I've been very reliable. They can turn to me. I can turn to them as well, and it's great. So I think that's probably one of my biggest strengths. You have to rely on, when you're working together with a group of people, you really have to rely on one another to do the job well. And you want to get along. And then I think I'm just a very good applicant, I guess the best, as you asked. For that reason, and also communication. I'm not afraid to communicate with people. If I have a problem, I'll come to you and I'll ask you about it. If I can't figure something out, I like to be able to turn to somebody if they can help guide me. So I communicate a lot. I'm reliable. You can trust me. And I have the experience. I've learned different areas of accounting. Yes, I don't have the municipal accounting experience, but I see no reason why I can't learn that with everything else I've learned in the accounting field. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to share about yourself with us?
I don't think there is. Accounting wise, or
Just in general, anything you're willing to share?
I don't think so. I can tell you that I love horseback riding and I love the summer, and I love gardening. We have a great garden. We just
Where do you ride horseback?
Overmead Farm. Yeah. So I'm there 4 days a week,
Oh,
especially in the summer when it's nice out. Yeah, so I do enjoy that. I love being outside. So that's a little bit about myself outside of
I see.
accounting.
All right. Well, thank you. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Yes.
And you'll be hearing from us by the end of this week.
Oh, okay, great. All right. Thanks so much.
So again, anyone in the audience who would like to communicate to us about these interviews, please do so via email to selectmen@stockbridge-mass.gov. And I move to adjourn.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good night. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.